Just a quick reminder before we get going, guys, if you have not seen Broadchurch, this is a reaction based off of my thoughts on Broadchurch, and I will be talking about spoilers and things that happen in Broadchurch, and this is basically like a comparison reaction series. So if you are new, prepare yourself, quickly jump off if you haven't seen Broadchurch, or if you're sort of worried about spoilers, or even if you haven't seen the rest of the show, just be wary that I will be talking about the endings of the other associated shows. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. Okay, all working. Brilliant. Underway. Finally. It's been 3, maybe even 4 weeks since I watched this. I've been so desperate to continue this because obviously it's like a Broadchurch sort of... It's all coming back to me. It's all coming back. But where have I been? I'll go over it in a bit more detail later. But long story short... Can I turn this? That is where I've been. I didn't have that before. What I had before was a laptop, which was horrible. If you're a regular to the channel, you probably already know this. My computer has issues all the time. Whether it be audio, whether it be glitches, it's getting too hot or not working properly. You would have heard me moan about it, no doubt, in my mind sometime throughout the last however long I've been on YouTube. So luckily, with this bad boy, I think that's about to change. It's a bit of an upgrade. It's much smoother, everything's much smoother. I've recorded a few videos already and they look fantastic, I think. And hopefully this is the same. But anyway, I'm going to go over that probably at the end of the video, guys. So, without further ado, let's get straight into Gracepoint. Come on! Here we go again. All the grieving processes all over again. Now my question is, how big of an effect is that going to have in this series? You know, because in Broadchurch they made it really apparent that there were different ways people grieved, and that process really sort of changed or affected the relationships and the story and all of it. I definitely prefer the Broadchurch opening, you know, and the scenery and everything, but
you were shouting.
It is what it is.
When I do talk to them, could I be with you?
I don't think so, sweetie.
It ends up being with his dad, eh? Joe, and then that whole... I want to rewatch that again so badly. Just keeping my eye on everybody. So Paul, his name's Paul.
There's a house on Harvey Ridge, a mile and a half from Danny's body.
Park Service owns that. They rent it out.
Find out who stayed there past 6 weeks.
Oh, so that's a rental now on this one.
Jack Reinhold called. He said he had something important that he remembered and
It's literally like exactly the same. Like I'm watching this going, I'm just remembering these lines from Broadchurch. Because he remembered something, right? And the question is, remember what happened to him last time? Where's all the fingerprints? Oh, and then they'll find his fingerprints, won't they?
Pete here will be your official liaison. He will...
This is his first one, eh? They'll have that exact line.
He'll give you information on
Have you done this before? Nope.
You can ask him.
Why can't you do that? No offense.
No, none taken.
It's a highly specialized job.
And he hasn't done it, eh?
And Pete's just finished his training.
Out of the frying pan.
Wrong thing to say. It's all... Oh, this will be that line when it's like, wait, these are all your friends.
I made a list. People who might have done it.
I want to know, was Joe Miller on that list? Because I reckon she wrote that list going, I don't think any of these people are going to be it, but...
Taped under Danny's bed.
And then there's the cash.
You're kidding.
It's all leading to the same story, you know.
I saw him with someone.
But hold on. I don't particularly remember seeing these, like, sort of vision flashbacks in Broadchurch. Did we get those? I can't remember.
It was only after you were in yesterday that I remembered.
You know what the issue is as well? They start to... He gets absolutely hammered by the media as well, doesn't he?
It did.
And we know what happens because of it. So they've got so similar
Have you told my mom and
themes.
dad?
Okay, watching this, one thing I will say that I find, one, it's like kind of weird. It's almost like I'm rewatching a show, but not really. Like I'm rewatching it because, you know, this is different. It's Gracepoint, right? But then at the same time, I'm not expecting everything to be the same. So like I'm going, hold on, okay, this happened to this character, but are they going to follow the same path? And that's what I'm noticing is kind of cool. Is like I'm seeing all these themes build up. And I can see exactly how it could go if it was the same as Broadchurch. And I'm like sitting there thinking, oh my god, that's gonna happen. Oh my god, I see how that's gonna happen now. Oh my god, this could have been avoided. Like, I'm seeing the things that could have been avoided. So, you know, when you, like, watch something back and you're like, literally right there, and that would have been the end of it. They could have resolved this. This is so picture perfect and like a mirror copy. There's very, very few details that I'm noticing that are different, like the way they sort of shoot it, and just a few other things that are slightly different. Yeah, it's a bit strange, you know. I'm enjoying it. It's great, and I'm saying if you watch this first, you probably prefer this than Broadchurch, simply because it's like, it feels like the original, you know. So basically, it's setting up a lot of things. So we've got the whole setting system with Jack. I think his name's still Jack. If I get the names wrong or sort of misassociate names, I'm sorry. But Jack basically employed Danny, and he saw him and all this and that and the other. And if from memory, if Jack is if it's a sort of picture perfect copy of Jack from Broadchurch, this Jack has some demons of his own, and that ends up getting out. So he ends up getting hammered by the media, and then what happens is his family gets screwed by the media, and then he ends up killing himself because of all of that. I think they're setting that up again. Now, the other thing that I think that they're setting up as well, which is very similar to Broadchurch, is Mark Solano, because in this one, once again, fingerprints being taken, he seems frustrated, he seems angry, he seems sort of dissociated from Beth, he seems like sort of separated from the family. Now, once again, it seems to me like they're setting up the affair. They're setting up the fact that he doesn't have an alibi that night that he can release because it will ruin his marriage and his family. And they're setting up this whole thing again where they're going to lead us to believe that he's prime suspect, but he's not going to be the killer. That's what I find interesting, is I can see that now, how they're leading this.
Who gave you that cocaine?
She's not going to say, eh?
Fisher?
At the end?
Was it a lie?
Smart ass.
No, I don't know
can't
anything
remember.
about any money, I swear.
You see Irvine, my advisor?
My former editor.
I know.
Also lover. Till I decided I didn't like penises.
Renee was looking for a
What?
desk.
That was
Yeah, I'll
forward.
look at her too.
I don't think we got it that forward in
We're a busy operation here.
in Broadchurch, did we?
It's got to be a one-time thing. I mean, they're not that kind of family, and Chloe's not.
He doesn't make her a coffee, eh?
Whatever is, Miller.
Just making one for yourself.
I think you may want
Yeah.
to take this one.
Sorry. Oh god. I kind of like Alec when he's like that, you know. I miss it, like, because he sort of has a character arc. We know that from Broadchurch, but it's. Oh, so he's still having the. Wow. So they're following that as well, but we won't get to see that, will we? Oh wow, so he carries injections around. Dude. Shoot.
Do I get arrested?
We need to process the offense.
I know this was really stupid.
And Alec's like, I don't care.
Charged. I know what I'm doing. I know how to handle people, so you can keep your brooding, assaholic, big city cop back to yourself.
Dude, yes. He's like, oh, calm down. Someone also said in my comments that like the first couple of episodes are written all by Chibnall. I don't even know, are they all by Chibnall? I don't know, but they're all like this basically mirror images, but then it starts to get different. Did someone say that? I think they did. Staring and the eyeing down, and yes, humans are nosy people. Seriously, man, imagine you go through something like that and everyone just like, you know, like, go away. Same again.
I'm pregnant.
Oh shoot, so they're still following that as well. Oh, we're not going to get to see the baby or anything either, are we?
Can I give you a hug?
Thank you.
Oh, the ominous music, you can sort of hear it,
Of
hey?
course, I feel for the family.
Oh, God
Terrible.
almighty.
It's awful.
Burrito. Jennings was closed.
Are there beans in it?
It's a burrito. I swear, you were worse than.
He's still fussy, look at his
We've
face.
canvassed every house with a few of us break saw Danny with the backpacker. You have to learn not to trust.
That's what you. Have
That's
to
the
teach
thing.
me.
You're gonna have
That
to do
is,
your best to
that's
try to
true
see
though,
this
like,
thing from the
in
outside.
Broadchurch
can't
it was
be
like,
outside.
not trusting,
I don't want to be outside.
completely trusting.
You can't be
You gotta
objective.
find the middle of the ground.
Maybe
That
you know the
between
right
them was
bit.
the middle, right?
From the Park Service said you have the keys to the Harvey Ridge house. I need those keys. I have to look inside.
Why?
So she's just as like reluctant to do anything. And she'll have the skateboard, right? Are they going to allude to that straight away, or is that going to be later on? Straight away! It was ages in Broadchurch when we found out about that. Yeah, no, that's what's cool about shows like this. They lead you to believe so many different things. And at that point, when Broadchurch, I was like,
Yet I will trust you.
bro,
Reach out to her, would you?
wait, hold
You've
on.
always been so good for her.
Did we have that plot line in Broadchurch?
I just figured I'd give her some space.
Well, sometimes people don't know what they need until it's given to them.
Either I don't remember that,
Praying that's why God brought you back to Gracepoint. To help my daughter.
it seems like he has a thing for her, doesn't it? Did they have that in Broadchurch? I can't remember it. Unless I've forgotten, like I said. That's interesting though.
3130 empty. 32, a station wagon. 3230.
Mark Solano.
Yes,
He
So,
said he was out
like
of a
again,
job.
setting up,
Yes, he
yeah,
did.
exactly.
What's he doing?
Setting up the
Wait
affair.
a second.
There's water involved.
What does that mean?
I've been told there's something with water.
Oh, that's right. He's the
told
prophet
you?
guy, right?
It's like he was in a boat, or he was put in a boat. I don't know why.
Who's telling you this? Where'd you get this from?
So they've got the whole boat situation again as well. Danny told me. Wow.
I followed Emmett Carver on his last case. He fumbled the Rosemont investigation, then he all but vanished.
2 kids went missing.
Three girls.
Sorry, I know I was like sort of distracted for a second, but so now they're talking about whatchamacallit, what do they call it in this one? It's Sandbrook and thing, but they're calling it something Rosamond or something, Rosamond? Whatever, I don't know what it's called, I can't remember, but the point is they're talking about 3 girls. In Sandbrook it was 2, right? It was 2 girls, the babysitter, the younger girl. They both went missing. Okay, I've been pausing this like barely at all, which I think I kind of expected. When I started the show, I was sort of thinking, I've already seen Broadchurch, I'm not really shocked by anything, I don't need to theorize or speculate a lot of stuff, so I kind of expected to sort of not really say a lot, which may be a bit different. It's a lot different to other reactions, probably a lot shorter than other reactions, and maybe even just a bit more strange. Like I feel like these reactions are going to have a lot less weight. Like Broadchurch reactions are 100% better. Like they're going to be better. There's shocks there, the emotions there, everything's there. This is going to be very, very different. But what I was trying to think, just a theory that came into mind, right? If they do have a killer that's different, if they do change the story, I remember a theory that I had in Broadchurch. It was really early on. It was when we sort of saw that Mark was being seen in a car park and he wasn't actually at the work, and I started theorizing about an affair. And I sort of said, what if he had an affair and what if Danny saw something? That was what I said, what if Danny saw something? Now the question is, could they now follow that path? You know, we've got all these different situations and they could be leading me in one direction or another direction or a complete different direction. The thing is, I'm questioning everything. And I still think the bet's on that it's going to be Joe again. Like, it's going to be the same situation, the same killer. But what I'm trying to say is, if Danny saw his father, when you think about this, right, it's gone from strangling to blunt force trauma. Now, blunt force is a much quicker, much more aggressive, and less time to think about it. It's usually the sort of thing that happens when you freak out, right? Grab something, boom, accident. More likely to be an accident. Strangling, to me, sort of seems more intense. Like, there's much more sort of direction towards what you're doing, or purpose. Now, with Joe in Broadchurch, we had that whole situation where he strangled Danny because of, basically, Danny was sort of saying, why don't you do this with your son? Like, this was so random. And we knew that Joe was a bit of a pervert. Like, he had those tendencies. He probably was leading down a bad path. We don't know. We actually didn't do anything that intense, but it could have been going that way. He just wanted sort of he just wanted Danny there as like a relationship, right? But not really. He didn't either touch him or any of that sort of stuff. I think they cuddled, right? But then he freaked out when Danny sort of said, I'll tell, or you're this, you're that, the other. And he sort of was this big emotional scene, and Joe sort of just, rage filled him. He was like, I'm not that. It was almost like he hated the things that he was being called or what Danny was saying about him. Boom. Hand in the grip. Losing your temper. Perhaps slightly unrealistic to how quickly it was. We know that that sort of thing happens a lot longer than you think, or as it's depicted. He's strangling with more intent. Like, it's hate. It's like, I am not those things. Don't you dare say that. It was anger. Now, for me, what fits a much different plot line is if Mark did this. Danny finds Mark with you-know-who. And then out of pure, how do I describe this? Out of pure reaction, grabs something, crack, when he sort of hears that, it could be something. But the issue with that, the only issue I do find with that sort of theory, is if I don't believe that a family member, for example, your son, I don't know if it's ever happened in real life, I don't know, like, part of me feels like the relationship between a father and a son is way too delicate to involve hitting someone with an object. Perhaps if it's like a partner cheating, or you know, you sort of rage, but I feel like a kid's a little bit different, which then leads me again to thinking that it's back to Joe and there's going to be a whole different reason. I actually think there's going to be a very, very different reason behind why, and the fact of actually beating someone is way quicker, way more likely to be an accident. But yeah, that's the problem. I'm just theorizing all these different things. I still think, because now we've got the whole money situation, it's going to be someone paying him again, and it's not going to be a family member. It's definitely, I don't think it can be a family member.
You know what happens around a murder, Mr. Connolly? Whole industry crops up. Groupies, rubberneckers who want a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're only the first.
And I remember seeing in The Killing, like in New Zealand, I'm not finished yet, but something very similar happened to Stan. Someone came along and they were like, I could talk to your daughter for a fee, you know? It's like, are you kidding me? That's someone's grief you're messing with, really?
About the pendant.
Yeah, and then he mentions the pendant. I forgot about that. To Alec, or to Emmett. Bloody hell, I'm never going to get rid of that.
December 9th, enough of this. Time to quit.
You see? Time to quit.
15th, Dad's really gonna kill me now.
Wait, what?
I think I know what he's doing.
I think I know what he's
What
doing.
am I doing?
I am so confused. That is so different. He said, I think I know what he's doing. What am I doing? I need to get out of here. This sounds nice. It sounds like he was wanting to leave, right? Which then puts the whole situation, was his family situation as good as, you know, he sort of said, my dad's going to kill me now. Obviously that's going to be a misdirection. But he said, it's time to quit. That sounds like it's some sort of job. Time to quit. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing you'd say if you were hanging out with a friend's father, you know?
I have a closeness with the Solano family, forged over many years, and together we can find our way back into the light.
I bet you him and the wife,
Words of
Hey, I
because
was
Beth,
watching that. Where are you going?
it'll be connected with Beth at some point.
Mark! Come on, stay away from Calm down, please. Stay away from Beth. For God's sake. No, poor God left my son for dead. Don't you forget that.
Dude.
I really just came to give you that and stop someone from stealing it. Or selling
See,
that online.
genuine. I remember thinking, this is genuine.
Thanks.
You know? I remember not liking her hate towards Alec or Emmett, but...
We
Dude.
have video footage of the lookout down the hill from Harvey Ridge. You were there at 10:30.
Ooh. You don't want her... He doesn't want anyone knowing about that, does he?
It's a match for Danny's blood type.
Do you think he was killed, Harry?
We believe so, yes.
Oh, so
There's also kids,
so
sneaker prints,
he was
size
killed
6,
there.
all over this area.
I can't remember.
You can't
Can't remember his
your
friend.
Where did you go?
Yeah. Suspicious as heck.
We had some drinks.
I feel bad because I remember at this time I was like really against Mark.
What's happened in 5 days?
But that's why I love the character arc, because it makes you love him,
And
you
is
know?
there any...
The prints belong to Mark Solano.
Ooh. Yeah, it's the same. That's the thing. I really hope that the later episodes do sort of change things a bit. Okay guys, that is the end of that episode, and kind of as I expected, like it really is just a mirror image. There's a few obviously details that are here and there and all over the place, but it's basically like rewatching it, but from a different perspective. I sort of spoke about like, it's almost like I got a set of different lenses on, you know, that sort of distort the sort of picture a little bit, and it feels like I'm, yeah, like rewatching something that's I've already seen, but I'm still not sure what happens, you know? It's kind of strange to think about. It's almost like you've had a dream and you remember it, but then you don't remember it. It's like, bro, what was that dream? And you can't sort of remember it, you know? It feels like that with this. But yeah, as of right now, obviously the situation is he is currently, well, Mark is currently the biggest suspect, and they're sort of looking into him a bit. You can see how they're setting it up again for him to be the sort of one who did this, and he is the one, gonna be the one that started all of this. And you sort of start thinking, like, you start disliking him really early because you think there's the affair, but then you think, could he have killed Danny? And then you start thinking about all these different reasons. You're like, oh my god, Mark, what have you done? And it's like, yeah, it's really intelligent how it leads you that way. But I'm not suspecting him at all after watching Broadchurch. Like I said earlier, it would be really cool if, like, they had changed the plot a little bit to the point where maybe it was a little bit more sort of irrational, or it was sort of a mistake that was a little less disorganized, because with strangulation, strangulation sort of feels way more organized, like someone, they know what they're doing and it takes a while to do it. Obviously with hitting someone over the head and it killing them instantly, it's completely disorganized. It can be completely sort of out of rage, and you can go from doing it from 1 second then regretting it the next, you know. That's one of the main reasons why I'm suspecting they could change something. I have a feeling it's going to be the same killer, but they're going to change the motive. Surely they don't just do a complete picture perfect copy, otherwise they would literally just call it Broadchurch again, you know, or I don't know. It would be a bit strange for them to remake it from UK to American, but then have no differences. We're sort of at the same position with the cases as well. They're sort of leading in the same direction. And like I said with this series, I'm really impressed once again with their ability to sort of show how deep this can go, and the characters, and how sort of, it's not a shallow show. Like, you're sort of watching it and you think, there's so many different aspects that could be happening. There's so many different things to think about, or to people to suspect, or just suspects in general, and it's a very, very intricate, well thought out show. Yeah, I'm still getting the vibe that I prefer Broadchurch, so I think that's going to be like pretty sort of standard across this series. I don't imagine I'm going to end up preferring this over Broadchurch, simply because Broadchurch was just so perfect, and it's hard to beat perfect or replicate perfect. There's really no need to replicate perfect, so maybe that's why they didn't go on, because like, you've got Broadchurch, which was amazing and immense. There's no need to sort of continue Gracepoint. Maybe the reception wasn't as good, or people are like, I've already seen Broadchurch and it's great, so why watch Gracepoint, you know? Maybe that's why, but I still think it's a good show. I think this show is going to be underrated, and I feel like it's gutting for anyone that started with Gracepoint to not get more seasons. I would be gutted, like, because it's really, really good. And if, like I said throughout this reaction, if you watch this first, you're probably going to prefer this. But yeah, guys, anyway, that's really all I've got to say. Other than, actually, I will talk to you quickly about where I've been. Obviously, my computer had issues. I think a lot of you know that, especially if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that my computer wasn't working, and then it ended up having a big fault, and I had to take it into Harvey Norman product care, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, had an upgrade. I already showed you guys earlier. That took weeks to get done. So right when I got consistent again, right when I've got plenty of time to make videos, I couldn't edit or film them because I had no computer. And you know, there were some reactions that I had pre-recorded, but none that I could edit straight away, because obviously no computer, no Premiere Pro, nothing worked. So it was really frustrating, it was really gutting, and it kind of hurt, because I was getting so hooked on these shows. And like, for example, Line of Duty, I just started season 3, boom, no computer. I've almost completely forgotten what's been happening, so that's going to be interesting when I record that one. But yeah, life's been a little bit hectic, so hopefully we're back again now. That's my little explanation. I hope it's okay. I hope you guys still enjoyed this. I'm not sure there's that many people that were sitting there desperate to watch the next episode of this anyway, being as I've already seen my Broadchurch reactions, but either way, we're back with Gracepoint, guys, and a fantastic second episode. Hopefully we sort of start to shift off slightly. At the moment, it's like Broadchurch, Gracepoint in the same direction. I want to see a little bit of a deviance from Gracepoint. I want to see something better. I want to see Chibnall's thinking or thought process after Broadchurch, and what he sort of cooked up to sort of alter the passage or the path of the series. That's what I'm interested in, and that's what I hope happens. But yeah, anyway guys, that's what I've got to say. As ever, it's been your boy British Chap. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.